Prime Minister Dato' Seri Anwar Ibrahim today expressed his pride in the efficiency and high level of professionalism displayed by the Malaysian Search and Rescue SAHIH team in helping the earthquake victims in Nur Dagi here. The Premier said they have shown extraordinary capability with efforts that the nation can be proud of.
Saya bangga sekali dengan pasukan kita, semangatnya, bomba kesihatan, APM yang telah menunjukkan keupayaan yang luar biasa, pengorbanan yang luar biasa, dibanggakan, dan Gubernur dengan Wakil Gubernur di sini menyatakan bahawa pasukan kita itu menunjukkan dedikasi yang luar biasa, dan saya bagi pihak seluruh rakyat ingin mengucapkan penghargaan dan doa kepada Allah SWT. Mudah-mudahan beban rakyat di sini diringankan dan kita akan buat sedaya upaya.
Dato' Seri Anwar said this after visiting the Malaysian SAHIH team camp at Nur Dagi Stadium. Earlier, he spent about 40 minutes visiting the camp and got briefed on the team's SAHIH operations. The team comprised members of the Special Malaysia Disaster Assistance and Rescue Team SMART, Fire Rescue Department, Civil Defence Force and Malaysian Armed Forces Royal Medical Corps. Meanwhile, Dato' Seri Anwar met with Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan in Ankara. In the meeting, the Prime Minister expressed Malaysia's solidarity as a partner country. According to Dato' Seri Anwar, Malaysia gives its undivided commitment to Turkey in facing critical moments. This is especially in lending a hand to Turkey's citizens that are affected by the deadly earthquake causing the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Dato' Seri Anwar also conveyed Malaysians' condolences as well as explaining the forms of aid that are being worked on. In a post on his official Facebook account, he also called upon Malaysians to pray together so that the dark clouds engulfing Turkey will pass soon. Dato' Seri Anwar was accompanied by Foreign Affairs Ministry, Dato' Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali, and Malaysia Ambassador to Turkey, Sazali Mustafa Kamal. The Finance Ministry has ordered the implementation of the Jana Wibawa project to be postponed for a review of whether its procurement procedure is in compliance with the rules set by the Treasury. Deputy Prime Minister Dato' Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the postponement involving a project value of 5.7 billion ringgit was required as there were elements of selective tender or direct negotiation in the procurement process.
Pihak Kementerian mengambil keputusan agar tata cara perolehan perbendaharaan mesti diikuti sepenuhnya. Ini termasuk membuka tender-tender supaya projek-projek ini dapat dilaksanakan. KKW tidak akan berkompromi dari segi pelaksanaan, terutamanya jeda waktu atau tempoh infrastruktur luar bandar. Kita akan berikan keutamaan di kawasan-kawasan terutama yang terjejas dengan banjir. Jalan-jalan yang rosak, jabatan yang runtuh dan rumah-rumah yang terjejas. Saya telah meminta pegawai-pegawai di kementerian dan agensi akan untuk melaksanakan dengan segera.
Dato' Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid added that the government will work closely with Sabah and Sarawak state governments to ensure infrastructure development projects in both states to be expedited. He said this after meet and greet session to Parliament's Media Centre. The Rural and Regional Development Ministry, or KKDW, has outlined 8 main strategies involving 16 programs to empower youth in rural areas. Dato' Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said among the programs were Program Start Right PSR and Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET.
Perkara-perkara ini termasuklah pemerkasaan TVET itu sendiri, di mana kita telah memperkenalkan TVET Junior, TVET Tahfiz, khususnya untuk pelajar-pelajar mak tahfiz yang diberikan kursus-kursus keterampilan. Begitu juga dalam tekno usahawan TVET pendigitalan TVET dan beberapa kerangka kursus yang dicernakan mengikut permintaan pasaran.
He added KKDW will work together with 12 other ministries to approach this issue without moving in silos. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said this when answering questions by Parit Sulong Member of Parliament, Datuk Seri Dr. Noraini Ahmad. Meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister said that the high marketability rate of TVET graduates, which was at 90.4%, proved that the courses were able to meet labour market requirements.
Kebolehpasaran TVET di bawah KKDW meningkat pada puratanya 90.4%. Artinya mereka yang mendapat kursus TVET ini yang masuk ke pasaran guna tenaga berada di tahap 90.4%. Artinya kebolehpasaran itu adalah berdasarkan kepada permintaan daripada pasaran guna tenaga dan kursus yang dibuat ke arah itu.
Meanwhile, Mustafa said that the Human Resource Ministry will propose an additional allocation of 6.7 billion ringgit in budget 2023. He said aside from further empowering the TVET courses, the allocation will also be used for social protection scheme for housewives and B40 group.
Kita boleh optimize 6.7 bilion ini yang melibatkan 12 kementerian. Jadi saya fikir bajet itu nanti bolehlah digunakan untuk macam Kementerian Belia dan Sukan. Dia boleh fokus dengan perkembangan belia. Sekarang ni dia 25% daripada bajet Kementerian Belia dan Sukan ini ditumpukan untuk TVET. TVET. Jadi dia minta supaya dioptimiskan.
Mustafa was met after officiated the Human Resources Conference HRI Tech in Sunway City, Selangor. In budget 2022, the government has allocated a total of 6.6 billion ringgit to empower TVET courses. The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry KPDN has suggested the expansion of unsubsidised petrol and diesel stations to all border states. Minister Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub said he would raise the proposal at the Cabinet meeting this Friday.
Kita akan mencadangkan supaya lebih banyak stesen dibuka di kawasan sebelah timur pula, iaitu di Kelantan dan juga di Johor Bahru yang bersepadan dengan Singapura, dan demikian juga kita fikirkan di Sabah dan Sarawak yang sememangnya di sepanjang sepadan itu kita bersepadan dengan negara Indonesia. Inilah suatu kaedah ataupun pendekatan ekonomi yang praktikal, yang doable, di samping menyelamatkan kekerisan, dan ia masih memberikan keuntungan kepada pihak kerajaan. Dan kalau betul caranya, saya rasa kutipan SST juga boleh diambil.
He said this after launching the pilot project of supplying unsubsidised raw 95 petrol and diesel in Padang Besar Perlis today. Previously, the government suffered a loss of almost 150 million ringgit a year due to the leakage. He added the ministry welcomes fuel suppliers who are interested in opening unsubsidised petrol and diesel stations and will help in terms of obtaining licenses. Coming up next, economic sectors must adopt digitalisation towards country's aspirations. All sectors of the economy needed to adopt digitalisation and innovation in order to catalyse growth and achieve a competitive edge. According to Human Resource Minister V. Sivakumar, the adaptation of digital technologies was in line with the aspiration to push Malaysia towards a high-income and high-tech nation. Sivakumar said the ministry continues to support businesses through the implementation of appropriate employment legislation related to recruitment, wages and skills development, besides being focused to fulfill the nation's human resource needs by ensuring labour demands are satisfactorily met.
Pembangunan sumber manusia berhad and Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran.
The quality of graduates, lack of competency
obsolete equipment and technologies. Financial constraint and irrelevant modules are some of the examples that need urgent attention from all stakeholders, from all of us. In the meantime, there are also some skills training institutions that are struggle to obtain in-depth understanding of the current and future industry needs to digital skills.
Thank you, John.
He said this in his opening remarks read out by Deputy Human Resource Minister Mustafa Sakmut in the launch of the HRI Tech Conference at Sunway Pyramid Convention Centre. The need to list Petroleum Nasional Berhad via an initial public offering IPO should be studied to ensure there's no conflict with matter enshrined in the Petroleum Development Act PDA 1974. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said Petronas has certain exclusive rights, including its function of safeguarding, managing and regulating the country's hydrocarbon resources.
Sebab itu saya lihat di masa yang lepas, apabila Petronas menyenaraikan perniagaannya, yang disenaraikannya itu adalah yang berhubung dengan perkara-perkara yang tidak menyentuh bidang kuasa serta bidang tugas yang khusus yang ada di dalam PDA, Petroleum Development Act 1974. Jadi perkara itu saya ingat akan terus diperhalusi kalau ada keperluan.
He said this in media conference regarding Malaysia economic performance and 2022 GDP growth in Putrajaya. Yesterday, Subang Member of Parliament Wong Chen recommended that the government should study on listed Petronas IPO as a way to gather enough money to help alleviate national debt burden. Linas will no longer be allowed to conduct radioactive waste processing activity after July 2023. According to Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Chang Ki Lang, the decision was made after Atomic Energy Licensing Board rejected Linas' application to abolish 4 license conditions involving water leach purification, residue, cracking and leaching activity, and the import of lanthanide liquid from Australia.
Sementara mendapat lanjutan lesen selama 3 tahun, Linus perlu mematuhi syarat yang telah dikenakan sejak Mac 2020 supaya aktiviti cracking and leaching yang menghasilkan sisa radioaktif akan dijalankan di Australia dan tiada aktiviti cracking and leaching dilakukan di Lem, Gebeng, Pahang selepas bulan Julai 2023. Aktiviti-aktiviti lain yang tidak melibatkan penghasilan sisa radioaktif dibenarkan untuk terus beroperasi. Dalam erti kata lain, tiada lagi sisa radioaktif tambahan daripada Linus selepas bulan Julai 2023.
Since 2012, Linas has been producing 1.08 million tons of radioactive waste. The total amount of the waste is expected to reach 1.2 million tons in July 2023. The Ministry of Health will ensure that the man who was stabbed by a mentally ill patient at Selayang Hospital yesterday gets the best treatment. Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said the latest update on the patient would be conveyed to his family from time to time, and the incident is currently being investigated by the authorities. Zaliha said she, along with Selangor Health Director Dato Dr. Syahri Ngadiman, Selayang Hospital Director Dr. Afidah Ali and a team of doctors attending to the victim had met the victim's family. Meanwhile, Dato Dr. Syahri informed that the patient is currently in stable condition after the surgery and is under observation at the intensive care unit ICU in the Selayang Hospital. He said the incident happened suddenly and nurses and medical officers who were at the department took immediate action to overpower the mental patient, who was subsequently handed over to the police. Earlier, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah in a tweet said that the stabbing was done by a psychiatric patient brought in by the police. He added the Health Ministry will review its standard operating procedure SOP for patients with psychiatric disorders. In our foreign front, Philippines Philippines and US to conduct joint military drills amidst regional tension. Manila's army chief today said the Philippines and the United States will this year carry out their biggest joint military drill since 2015 against a backdrop of growing tensions with China in the South China Sea. The exercises underscore improved ties with the United States under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The move also comes as the Philippines condemned China's aggressive actions in the disputed waterway, including its use of a military-grade laser against one of Manila vessels earlier this month. According to Army Chief Romeo Brawner, the annual Balikatan exercises will be conducted in the second quarter and involve more than the previous year's 8,900 troops. The Philippines has granted Washington greater access to its military bases as part of the latest efforts to deter China's increasing assertiveness in the South China Sea and tension over self-ruled Taiwan. In 2015, more than 11,000 troops from both countries participated in the joint military exercises. Russia's defense ministry said today that its strategic bombers carried out a routine flight over neutral waters in the Chukchi and Okhotsk seas close to its far east. The aircraft were escorted by Su-30 fighters, and the total duration of the flight was more than 7 hours. United States military said multiple Russian military aircraft, including fighter jets and strategic bombers, were intercepted by North American air defense forces as they flew over international airspace near Alaska. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, said in a statement that the aircraft did not enter U.S. or Canadian airspace and did not pose a threat. It added that the Russian flights were in no way related to the mysterious spate of airborne objects shot down by the U.S. military over North America in the past few weeks. North American security forces have been on high alert in recent weeks after a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon crossed into U.S. airspace, prompting the United States to shoot it and other objects down as it combs the skies. The BBC's offices in New Delhi and Mumbai today were searched by India's tax officials for a second day as controversy continued to swirl over a banned BBC documentary critical of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The documentary had focused on Modi's role in the deadly violence in Gujarat in 2002 when he was Chief Minister of the state. The documentary India, the Modi Question was banned by the Indian government last month and called it a discredited narrative. Furthermore, access to the documentary via streaming platforms as well as sharing on social media has also been blocked by the Indian government. At least 1,000 people were killed in the riots, though activists put the toll at more than twice the number. The BBC has stood by its reporting for the documentary and said yesterday it was cooperating with Indian tax officials. It also hoped to have the situation resolved as soon as possible. Khairi Jamaluddin joins JDTFC. There are more next in sports. Former Member of Parliament Khairi Jamaluddin has officially joined Johor Darul Takzim JDT Football Club as a member of the Board of Directors. According to a posting on the official Johor Southern Tigers social media, the former Health Minister was also appointed as the Johor Youth Advisor. The Crown Prince of Johor, Tunku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, said today that he had held a meeting with Khairi and agreed to appoint the former Youth and Sports Minister to the two posts. Khairi has extensive experience in the local football scene as he was once appointed as Vice President of the Football Association of Malaysia (FAM) from 2007 until 2010. Khairi, through a post on his Facebook page, thanked Tunku Ismail for appointing him, adding that he was thrilled to join JDTFC. He said he will use all his knowledge and experience he has to assist the TMJ in his vision to make JDTFC the top football club in Asia. He also said he will strive to realise Crown Prince's desire to empower the youth of Bangsa Johor through education, training, entrepreneurship, welfare and providing appropriate protection to teenagers and children. Chelsea prepared for their Champions League round of 16 first leg match away to Borussia Dortmund tomorrow morning, hoping to recapture their form, which has eluded them since the mid-season break for the World Cup. Chelsea have only won 2 of their 8 Premier League matches since then and have slipped to 10th in the table, 20 points behind leaders Arsenal. Manager Graham Potter spent massively in the January transfer window, but UEFA regulations have only allowed him to add 3 players to his Championship League squad. Potter has chosen their £106.8 million purchase from Benfica midfielder Enzo Fernandez, who was part of Argentina's World Cup winning team, with the other 2 being Portuguese striker João Felix and Ukraine winger Mikhailo Mudryk. Despite Chelsea's poor recent form since Potter took charge of the club from Thomas Tuchel in September, he has steered Chelsea to a draw and 4 straight wins in the Champions League. Dortmund's form has been faultless since the mid-season break, winning all 6 of their Bundesliga matches to lie third, just 3 points behind leaders Bayern Munich. Arsenal head coach Mikel Arteta says there's huge anger amongst his players ahead of tonight's vital clash with Manchester City after a VAR mistake cost his side 2 points in the title race at the weekend. Saturday's 1-1 draw at home to Brentford means leaders Arsenal are only 3 points ahead of champion City and would be knocked off the top if they lose at the Emirates.
Yeah, we ended the game after analysing all the evidence that we had on the images with a huge anger and disappointment, because that wasn't a human error. That was a big not conceiving and understanding your job, and that's not acceptable. I'm sorry, and that cost Arsenal 2 points, and that's not going to be restored. So we're going to have to find those 2 points somewhere else in the league. But at the same time, we appreciate the apology, we appreciate the explanations, which were really open, to be fair.
Brentford's equaliser scored by Ivan Toney stood despite his teammate Christian Nogard being in offside position in the build-up, a mistake acknowledged by professional game match officials limited as a significant error. Lee Mason, the VAR official for the game, has since been stood down for his mistake in which he failed to draw the lines usually used to judge offside decisions. Kingsley Coman came back to haunt Paris Saint-Germain again as he earned Bayern Munich a 1-0 win at the Parc des Princes in the Champions League last 16 first leg early today. Born in Paris and raised at PSG, Coman scored the only goal when Bayern beat the French side in the 2020 Champions League final, and he was again the sole scorer as the German championship put one foot into quarter-finals. PSG, who have now lost 5 games in all competition in 2023, held firm in the opening half, but were eventually subdued and failed to fight back, despite finishing the game with Kylian Mbappe, Neymar and Lionel Messi all on the pitch. Bayern were far from impressive either, with their only clear chance coming in the 43rd minute when Joshua Kimmich's 20-meter attempt was blocked by Gianluigi Donnarumma. Bayern scored 8 minutes into the second half when Coman latched on to a cross from Alphonso Davies, giving the visitors a deserved advantage that they held on to despite losing Benjamin Pavard to a red card in stoppage time. Christophe Galtier's side now face the prospect of a second elimination in a row in the last 16 on 8 March in Munich. Meanwhile, AC Milan took a step towards their first Champions League quarter-final appearance for 11 years as Brahim Diaz's goal gave the Italians a 1-0 win over Tottenham Hotspur in the last 16 first leg at the San Siro. The San Siro crowd did not have to wait long to have something to cheer as Theo Hernandez got the better of Christian Romero before powering a shot at Tottenham's keeper Fraser Forster, who saved well. Diaz's rebound effort was also brilliantly safe, but he reacted quickly to bundle in a header in the 7th minute. Spurs, weakened by injuries and suspensions, responded positively in the first half to dominate possession, but were unable to seriously worry the hosts. Milan should have increased their advantage after the break, with substitute Charles de Ketelaere and defender Malik Thiaw wasting glorious headed chances. Spurs huffed and puffed after the break without much reward and were fortunate that Milan did not give themselves a bigger cushion for the second leg in March. They sent on Brazil forward Richarlison for the last 20 minutes, and while they were unable to avoid a first ever defeat by Milan, they will head home still hopeful of turning the tie round and reaching the last 8. Top seed Stefanos Tsitsipas defeated Finland's Emil Ruusuvuori in straight sets to reach the second round of the Rotterdam Open yesterday. The Greek world number 3 took an hour and a half to win 7-5, 6-1 at the ATP 500 event in the Netherlands. Tsitsipas was greeted with an early barrage of clean hitting from the world number 52 and trailed 3-5 in the opening set. However, he later dialed in behind his serve and forehand to grind his way back into the match before holding on to his advantage once ahead. Tsitsipas will be up against either France's Benjamin Bonzi or Italy's Yannick Sinner in the next round. Joining Tsitsipas in round 2 is Daniil Medvedev of Russia, who came back from a set down to beat Spain Alejandro Davidovich Fokina 4-6, 6-2, 6-2. The world number 1, seeded 6th in Rotterdam and currently 11th in the world ranking, will face either Dutchman Botic van der Zandschulp or France Quentin Alice. Third 6th, Felix Auger-Aliassime of Canada also eased into the second round with a comfortable 6-2, 6-3 win over Lorenzo Sonego of Italy. 2 breaks of serve in the first set and 1 more in the second saw the third seed set up a meeting with Grégoire Barrère of France after just under an hour and a half of play. Alright, so that concludes tonight's edition of News at 10. In our top story, PM expresses pride and appreciation toward Malaysian SAHIH team. Do tune in to updates at noon coming up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on TV2. You can also stream it via RTM's mobile click app. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.